Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Abundant Living Podcast. My name is Caroline Oceana Ryan, and today we're just going to look briefly at these intense energies coming in and the whole issue of dealing with them, because they are a little on the intense side. They really are. So just go into your breathing for a moment. I'm going to pull a few cards from the angel deck, angel therapy deck, but just go into your breathing for a moment, because what we're going through right now with this solar light pouring in, I really kind of just, as somebody put it, sort of bombarding the earth. This is very intense. It's bringing up a lot emotionally. A lot of stuff is coming up for people. Sometimes we might feel very jittery, like it's hard to sleep. Other times very exhausted, hard to keep our eyes open. Other times maybe dizzy. I noticed some people have told me they've had trouble judging distances. Their spatial relationships seem off. Some people have told me they sort of feel like they're ready to explode some moments, and then other moments they're very calm and at peace and all is well. And this kind of up and down feeling is very hard to take, I agree. And the intensity of this light can be very hard to integrate in a calm way. And we sort of feel like, well, I would really prefer that things be as calm as possible, so I feel better, and I just wish I could integrate all this higher light all at once, and I could come out of this crazy ongoing process of healing, learning, growing, progressing in ways that are really hard for me some days. I completely follow. I've talked to a lot of people, including energy workers, who are feeling it in a big way. Maybe they're getting teary-eyed or unhappy about a lot of things, and sometimes it's just old memories coming up. Sometimes it's a current situation that has triggered them to remember the past. It can be a lot of different things, and everyone's going through it. So the point here is to be as calm as possible, but allow the sadness and the emotional upset to come up, because if it doesn't come to the surface, it remains under the surface and it remains unhealed. So let's, again, just go into our breathing, where we're just breathing in very calmly, very slowly. In through the nose with mouth closed. And when you're ready, breathing out as if you were whistling or breathing out through a straw. And again, breathing in slowly, fully. And out as if you were breathing out through a straw or whistling. And just continue with that for a few moments. Might want to put your fingertips on your heart space. That always helps me. It is very important to take time for ourselves right now, whether you're doing it in meditation or in a moment like this or out in nature, because our bodies are going through tremendous changes as well as our minds and emotions. In a DNA upgrade, anybody is going to feel suddenly that they're not themselves anymore, that they are in a different place or inhabiting a different body. Now, you might literally be in a different place if you're experiencing this new and higher level of multidimensionality that you'll see people talking about. And I started channeling about this in sessions recently, and people have said, I don't feel as if I'm in this dimension. And then the collective will say, well, you're experiencing moving in and amongst the dimensions. You're an interdimensional being. It's not unusual for you in spirit form, but now you're experiencing that while in a body. They've also spoken about how we're regaining a lot of these really lovely abilities, talents, gifts that we've had in other lives, in which we're in the super civilizations such as Atlantis and Lemuria, or Sumeria in its high point, or Egypt at its high point. And of course those civilizations fell, but I feel now, and a lot of people do, that we're moving into the Sat Yuga, which is the Hindu term for the new era of peace and prosperity, that we're not going to fall out of it. Yes, the changes will still come, but we'll be shifting from a higher point to begin with, a higher level. So we're moving up an octave, as they say. And unlike the other ages that last for 26,000 some years, this will be 4 times that, more than 100,000 years of peace and calm. Now you may feel like I'm never coming back to the earth again unless it's highly dimensional, fifth or sixth dimensional at least, and that's fine. I've made that determination as well. I'm really done with the intensity of life here and done with how separated from our own higher instincts we become. We get caught up in ego, mind, and personality and survival. And yes, it was a fascinating experiment, but it really went too far. And it's time for it to be over now. It really is. So, okay, the dark ones, as they're called, are getting rounded up, and you and I are getting ready to take on our full responsibilities and full role as Lightbringers and Starseed, who have come here to assist in building the new earth. Now, to a degree, we're already doing that, and we're extremely active already in terms of the work we do in the etheric, in the higher realms, and on the ships, and in inner earth, and in different places on this earth. Because we're helping. Some people are helping with refugee or immigrant situations, which are dire at the moment, as we all know. Some people are helping with those countries that have been horribly flooded, suffered horribly from earthquakes, suffering horribly from war or other forms of armed conflict. And you and I are assisting in all of that. We're not only on our ship observing, we're very involved in everything happening. And your Earth mission, friends, your Earth mission can be many things. I've talked to people who, in their sleep state, they're going into all these various places on the earth, and these are sacred sites. They are, say, pyramids or places with these huge monolithic stones, such as Stonehenge, Newgrange, or what have you. And they are working with the technology that is in these structures or underneath them or etherically above them. And they're turning on these beautiful ancient ET technologies that were shut off ages ago, so they couldn't be misused. And yes, the dark ones have wanted to use the ancient ancient technologies and the ancient capabilities of these places for a very long time, but you've got to approach them with the right consciousness. If you listen to A Night at the Round Table on bbsradio.com, you've probably heard my friends Rama and Tara mention this. And Rama will say that the army will send in soldiers to work to try to get a Vimana, an ancient ET flying machine, going, or they'll send in soldiers to try to get some kind of other ancient technology working so they can use it for their own purposes, the old crowd. And unfortunately, if you don't approach it with the right consciousness, extremely dangerous. You might not survive the attempt. So these things are being shifted and turned back into functioning, full activation mode, and you and I are being shifted so that as we move into becoming our higher selves again, we are re-experiencing all the beauty of our higher aspect and really seeding the new earth by holding that vibration, whether it mainly happens when we're in our sleep state or it comes and goes in flashes in our waking state. But isn't that a huge breakthrough from what humankind has been for thousands of years? So we're welcoming all of that. I'm just going to do a quick angel card reading, and then we'll bring in the collective. And already they're flowing energies to you, friends, so no worries there. Whatever is troubling you, just bring that forward. Put yourself in that beautiful circle of light, bring it forward, put it in the violet flame of Saint Germain. Whatever's too difficult, let it go. Hand it over to your higher self, your team, and that beautiful violet flame. And don't carry it. I know these times it can be very rough, very iffy, very uncertain on many levels. I don't have to mention all the things that are going wrong in the United States, for instance. I wrote a friend in England recently. I emailed her. I said, this country is in tatters. And I have never said that as fully, meaning it as fully and as painstakingly, you might say, and carefully as I say it now. It's not just a reaction. But then things have to fall apart in order so that things can be rebuilt, as my friend Lynn Newman reminds us. So all we're seeing is the destruction of the old patterns and the old structure and the old quote-unquote institutions that we're meant to revere and follow. So our officials and our authorities, all that's going. Okay, let it fall, disintegrate and flow down the river, because what you and I are building is made out of light, and that will not go away. That will not fade. So all right, Here we are with our Doreen Virtue Angel Therapy cards. I'm going to cut the deck. And actually, I should say, to begin with, think of either how you're doing, that you want some clarity on that, or how the world is doing, or how your country is doing and you want some clarity on that, or your part of your country. Think of something you just want more clarity on. And we'll bring that up, just sending a lot of light. And it might not seem relevant at first, but we'll see. I'm going to cut the deck now. Ah, very interesting. Manifestation power. And that's a really beautiful, powerful angel. And it says, use your spiritual gifts and natural abilities to attract your desired outcome. It could be income, yes. So use your spiritual gifts and natural abilities to attract your desired outcome. This is interesting because the last time I did an angel card reading, it was also very active. It was also similar to this. It was also along the lines of you create your own life, you create your own culture and your own earth, you and many others, obviously, if you're talking about a whole planet. But what each individual will experience is often dependent on how they are or where they are vibrating within themselves. And again, there's really no substitute for daily meditation, even if you only have 12 or 15 minutes for it. That's okay. That's fine. Take that time. It's going to center you. It's going to bring you back into the body. We jump out of our bodies quite often, several times a day or a week probably. We're sort of running around and just trying to get things done and just thinking in terms of, oh, my to-do list and I have to fix this. And we're in our head so completely that we are missing what our spirit team of guides and angelic guardians and higher self want to bring to us. So in that lovely moment in meditation, just as like when we went into our breathing a moment ago, we're coming back into the heart space, coming back into the body. And so, all right, fantastic, manifestation power. So what does that mean? Just asking the higher selves, can you provide some input, please? All right, our lives are our own, our outcomes are our own. So not surprisingly, they're encouraging us to take our eyes off of the mainstream news, not only think about what's going on out in the world that seems awful and unsolvable, or take our eyes off of maybe the bank account if you're not happy with that number that you see in your checking account or savings or whatever it is, or not happy with how the markets are going, or you hate your job or whatever. What they're saying there is take your eyes off of all of that and go within and get an image of what you would love to have. You'd love a peaceful earth. You'd love a world in which there are no more guns or bombs, none working or none present. I'll live with either, that's fine. You'd all love a world in which everyone had this beautiful, bountiful abundance pouring into them all the time. And they always had the wisdom to know how to handle all that beautiful material wealth. The king in the Bible, I'm trying to think, I guess it was King Solomon. He was given great wealth, or he was given the opportunity for it, and all he asked for was the wisdom to know how to handle it. And that is so, so beautiful and so powerful. You and I have incredible wealth if we're able to sit up and hear and see and process any of the information we receive during the day. And if we're able to move about, in addition to that, even more wealth. If we're able to exercise, able to use our minds imaginatively, creatively, logically, even more wealth. So we've already got incredible wealth just being alive and being on this planet. And as far as money is concerned, if you want to sit down and chat with money and ask, what do you need from me, friend, in order to flow to me more often, and be open to the answer, whatever it is, and keep asking until that answer comes to you. And it might come to you inwardly. It might come via an outer message, someone saying something or something you read. Maybe your eye falls on something that says, if you desire to have more money, have a specific amount that you're asking for and stick with that. That is important, I notice. If you read Sarah McCrum's book, Love Money, Money Loves You, money is speaking because she's channeling money in that book, and it mentions that. In the book I channeled and put out recently, Messages from the Spirits of Abundance, money is, and the And goddesses of wealth are pointing out that after someone asked, every chapter begins with a question from a light bringer, and they said, how come really lovely, nice people don't have money and these other people do? And the simple answer was, well, those people you see with money concentrate on it. They're asking for it. They honor it. They value it. They desire more of it, and they're working positively to have that. Not necessarily working really hard, because that just repels money. But they're working with money cooperatively. They're not sitting around saying, I'm a nice person, how come you never come here? None of us are going to want to go to dinner with somebody who says that. We're going to avoid that person's presence. And I know we pointed that out a lot on the abundance calls, but I do hear it a lot. I do hear spiritually aware people talking down about money and talking down to money, and acting like it was evil, and acting like it was always scarce. And if you love something, or you care about something, or at least really like and value and believe in it, and see the good use and the great blessing of it, you're going to speak well of it if you want to receive more. So, all right, eyes off the bad news and concentrating on what's really beautiful and what's really wonderful in our lives. And what do you desire? Concentrate on that right now. Think of one issue in your life you would love to have differently. Now, I'm going to think of one. Absolutely, this is very easy. It has to do with physical health and well-being, and I'm just going to think of that. I'm going to put myself in a position where that's already come to me. I'm already at the fitness level I would really love to be at. Any health issues I've just released. I've gotten wonderful help for that. I've changed whatever I need to change in order to release them, whatever allergies, sinus headaches, whatever it is. Waking up in the middle of the night, of course, that there are different reasons for that, because things are changing so fast on this earth, and you and I changing with it. But just think, what are the characteristics? What's the feeling you have now that you have this thing? You feel better about yourself? You're full of thanks? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Say it, thank you to money. Say it to whatever, getting your taxes done. Thank you, my new job, my new business. Thank you to the business I have, and that it's reorienting and I'm restructuring it so it serves me and others so much better. And I don't have to work so hard. If you only want to put in 3 days a week, decide that right now. Maybe a new partner. Have you written down what you require of a new relationship? What you're mutually offering to one another? Wonderful. Put yourself in that position right now where you have this wonderful situation or this wonderful object or circumstance or this wonderful new person in your life. Put yourself right there. Pretend they just walked into the room. They're already in your life on a spirit level. That's very important to realize. So is everything you desire. But you've got to start giving thanks so you're vibrating with it instead of against it. And that's something that's taken me ages to learn. Feels like hundreds and hundreds of years, maybe hundreds of years, maybe many, many lives. But here we are, friends. All right, so I'll do one more card and I'll bring in the collective. And they'll speak to us for a few moments. And I'm glad people have enjoyed the Sedona, Arizona videos of the red rocks. I didn't move back to Sedona. I was just there for a little while. But just concentrate. One more message about where you are or your earth is. Where am I right now? What do I need to know? Okay, getting the okay from the higher selves and cutting the deck twice. This is so perfect for how most of us feel right now. I feel alternately exhausted and jittery from these energies. And this is, if you get nervous, focus on service. That is so beautiful. Really, really beautiful, and it rhymes kind of. And it says, put your entire intention on answering the question, how can I make the world a better place? And the law of attraction will automatically take care of your needs. Now, this might sound like the opposite of the other one, manifestation power, but it's actually linked. Because if you need to, you're requiring, you're calling forth, and you're aware that you're requiring, I don't want to say that word need, requiring a certain, say, financial income or level of health and energy, or certain contacts in your area of work, say, for instance, you absolutely require that in order to be able to do your job, fulfill your role, your earth role, the one you have in your waking hours, not your full earth mission, but your life work. And you know that these things are required. I need a new computer, I need a website, and this has got to happen and require, in other words, I require these things. And these things have got to happen in order for me to be able to do this work. Put your entire intention on how can I make the world a better place. So your first thought really isn't, 100% new website, absolutely, got to start my own business or change my job, etc. Your first question is, how can I make the world a better place? And the law of attraction will automatically take care of your needs. That is really, really beautiful. Now, don't forget to specify what you require in terms of financial income. Don't forget to specify what you require in terms of healing and having a powerful life energy and attending to health issues, which in the Western world, because of how we live with so much poisoned water and air and our food highly processed and utterly poisoned against us, frankly, particularly the prepared foods, we really require healing for all of this. We require so much physical healing. So we have our full energy and vitality and the full willingness and joyful expectation and positive thought and feeling needed to take on the life purpose we came in for and the life work we came in for. And if you're not quite there yet, you're a bit young, or you're past what you feel is your working life, you can still give a lot. Just being kind to other human beings. When the weather's better, pick some wildflowers and give them to a neighbor who really needs some cheering up. Do a community cleanup if you can. Pray, affirm positive things for people. Learn about energy work so you can do energy work for people. These are things that anybody can do. Even 4 and 5-year-olds are capable of doing this. And many people over the age of 70 or 75 are capable. And it gives your life new meaning to think in terms of service, because now you're thinking, what makes me joyful? That also helps other people. And that gets your mind off yourself and the heaviness of everything we're carrying. So let me bring in the collective. Let's just go back into our breathing. And I'll bring them in, just one moment. Well, greetings, dear ones. We are so pleased, as always, to have this time to speak with you today. And yes, our writer was speaking of the interdimensional aspect of Earth life now, and this may feel very strange. You may have moments where you're not quite sure where you are. Many are waking up and thinking, is this Saturday? And it turns out to be Tuesday or Wednesday, and others are feeling kind of strange, as if things aren't quite real, and others are feeling, I can't tell what time it is anymore. I used to be able to guess the time. It's going very slowly some days and incredibly fast other days. And all of this can be, as they say, quite discombobulating. And we want you to relax in this. We want you to understand these are exactly the changes you have requested. It's just that what people had assumed about the new Earth life, the everyday new earth life was that things would just keep getting better and better and everything would flow perfectly. And that absolutely shall happen. And it is happening already for you in certain respects you may not fully see yet. But first, these jangled moments are occurring, because what you're doing before you're ushering in the new is releasing the old. So let's just take a moment, going into the heart space, again into your breathing, calling in the higher selves, calling in everyone's guides and higher selves. Namaste, dear ones. I'm going to just relay a message from them. We're working with you energetically to help the integration of this powerful solar light to go a bit more smoothly, and for you to feel excited and happy that this new earth is indeed being birthed through you, through your vibration. Yes, you've been trained to look at outer circumstances as the indication of how life is going and how you're doing, but no, not right at the moment. And so these cards that were pulled, very, very important. So right now, you're going within whenever you can, as often as you can. You're finding that calm, beautiful, quiet space where there's just a lovely flow of higher light. Your true self is shining. They're just full of love for themselves and others, full of empathy, compassion for all the earth has been through, and so relieved that all the toxicity is leaving now. That's why things are coming up to the surface on the earth and on within each of you. Just breathe out. All the higher selves here. And all of us, we're all in that circle of light, all of us surrounding all of you. Put yourself and any loved ones you wish into that beautiful circle of light. And we're just listening to the higher selves and guides. All right, they're reminding you your path is sacred, that there's nothing accidental there. Every moment of it is beautiful, whether you're choosing an avocado or eggplant in the grocery store or farmer's market, or you're out taking a walk, or you're cleaning the house, doesn't matter. Working hard, doesn't matter. Every single second, sacred and beautiful. These are all sacred moments, they're saying. Now we're going to ask them to get a little more specific. Even that which you despise is serving you in some higher way. It's showing you what you have yet to love or to heal. It's showing you aspects of yourself you have never liked. But in this life, you decided, I will come in, and even though I will be opposed to certain ideas, I will love and accept myself. I will love and accept the aspect of me that resonates with those ideas and with that behavior. And one of the reasons that some forms of behavior seem so despicable is because the person resonates with that and finds it very, very difficult. We're not just saying that if you can't believe these politicians who lie and cheat and take bribes, that you would definitely run out and do the same given half a chance. We're saying in some life, you also took money for things you ought not to have taken money for. You also lied, maybe to save your life, as many of them have. You've also given false representation, as so many of them have, to save their lives. You'll notice sometimes people in the public eye will die suddenly, and it isn't always from an accident or a heart attack or illness, etc. Sometimes there was a nudge there, something happened. So have compassion, not only for those you see around you who seem to have taken the dark road, but for yourself in all those lifetimes in which you also walked a path that you would never dream of walking now. You were curious. You thought, who would I be if I stooped that low? And then what about the climb back up? That sounds fascinating. That sounds like an amazing adventure. I'm going to fall to the bottom of the mountain and I'm going to climb up a whole different side of that mountain. And I'm going to reach the summit this time. And so, you know, dear ones, you carved out for yourself a life that makes no sense on some levels, but perfect sense on other levels. So they're saying, take your eyes off of what you've been taught, which is that duality, that good, bad, dark, light duality, and just say all is good and all is well and all shall be well. So let's just listen, see if they have anything else for you. This is a time for transformation. Certainly no one's going to argue with that, dear ones, yes? You've ushered it in with your presence. All right, don't blame others. If things are falling apart, you're the ones doing the pulling apart. You're disintegrating and you're fading and dissolving these old structures, whether they're economic or political or military or religious or educational, medical, whatever they are. You're dismantling it. You're helping. Some of you, that's your pure earth mission right there. Yeah, helping to round up, those who need to be taken off planet to face a war tribunal. Yes. The Mother Sekhmet presiding. They're saying something we have shared, which is that increasingly things are going to start making more sense because you're going to start remembering more and more of what you experience when you're in the etheric body and traveling at night in your spirit form and performing your earth mission, and things are going to start occurring to you, you know very, very well when you're in that form, pardon, which haven't generally occurred to you otherwise. It's been hidden information, just like that amazing ET technology mentioned earlier. It was put out of commission because it would only be used for negativity, which obviously nuclear capability has been used for. So that was hidden, and you and your subconscious have hidden a lot. You on a higher level have hidden a lot from your everyday self, and there were reasons for that. It was important that you not know it all straight up front. It would be very, very hard for you for one and not very safe for you for another. And yet increasingly now, by the millions, not by the thousands, by the tens and hundreds of millions, people are remembering who they are. And they are coming into a time when what they travel through and what they experience in their sleep state is going to naturally start flowing to them as information that they understand and accept and take for granted as being just normal. This is breakthrough. This is a huge moment, dear ones. So we are aware that things can feel confusing while you're getting used to moving in and amongst different dimensions, and it can feel as if, well, I don't know that my life makes sense anymore, and I just feel funny, I feel woozy, I feel dizzy or exhausted at times, or jittery or strange or too emotional. Why all this emotional purging, as some put it? Absolutely, this is happening because you're shifting so powerfully. You're shifting as fast as you could into fifth dimensional form and consciousness without imploding, without going mad, without your heart stopping. That's how fast it's happening. It's right at the hilt, but not at the point at which you would be physically endangered or mentally or emotionally endangered. And yes, some are leaving the planet. Absolutely, dear ones, absolutely understandable that can be very upsetting. So many have left in the earthquake. Understand that there are soul groups who decide to leave together at one time, and or within a space of a few days of each other, or a few weeks, and that is because they've been called up to work in the higher realms, not because they're irretrievably lost and their loved ones will never see them again. That is not so. So you're going to have a lot of courage right now, dear ones, to take on your higher self aspect. And it's kind of like, we've done this before. We did the abundance call, and we image your beautiful higher self standing right next to you right now. And this is a tall, beautiful, brilliant, glowing with golden light sort of being. They're just astounding and full of beauty and, of course, eternal youth, but also eternal wisdom, highly evolved. And go ahead, if you want, stand up and step into that space where they are and take on that beautiful outlook and presence and vibration and inner self and inner spirit. Or image them coming to where you are if you're sitting or lying, and they're moving into your wonderful physical self as well as your spirit self. And now you're becoming this astounding being who is able to move through the world absolutely knowing who they are and not panicking at the changes, even if they're disintegration, even if they're physical death, even if they're a whole city just reduced to rubble. even if it's the painful images of immigrants turned away at the border or exploited in sweatshop conditions, even when that occurs to children. All of these things are terrible. The war happening. Please don't be misled regarding who started the Russia-Ukraine war, but we won't go into that right now. We'll just say that things are not as they seem, and they've been that way a long time. But as you awaken, you will begin to understand much that has been hidden. And there's no news network, there's no government, there's no group of medical experts, there's no group of educational experts or religious officials and authorities, quote unquote, who are going to be able to hold back the tide of this powerful light pouring in. You will begin to understand the real story, not only of yourself and your own soul journey, but of this earth and what she has been through and what humanity has been through and where you are now. Those veils are gone, dear ones. We used to say the veils are dropping. We will say now that they have disappeared. And if you are interested in more information on a bit more left brain level, but also with beautiful energy flow, we do encourage people to go to rainbowroundtable.net and click onto where it says news updates, and that's the White Knight report. And this is from the only White Knights who are able to speak the real truth on this planet. There's millions of them, but this particular one, Rama Berkowitz and his beloved Tara Green, they're able to speak about what is going on and report from Rama's contacts, and they represent the Ashtar Command. And that is a ship that is right overhead and working brilliantly, working valiantly to assist humanity in adopting and adapting and not rejecting, whether physically, mentally, emotionally, on a cellular level, etherically, not rejecting the light coming in, but integrating it in the highest and most beautiful and simplest and easeful ways. So we send much love, dear ones. We are so full of thanks for all of you. Words just cannot express, particularly in the very limited left brain English language, words cannot express our joy at knowing you and at seeing you return to your true and authentic selves and the beauty of that. And you know that as you go through life and things are difficult, anything heavy you're carrying, pull that out of your heart space, put it in that beautiful violet flame of Saint Germain or in the white flame of the divine feminine and let it be transmuted. Put yourself in those flames if you want. They're cool flames, like the flame of your soul. It's cool flames. They won't burn. They just transmute. And they're here because you're here. And your souls have called in all kinds of assistance, and that is flowing to you now. Yes, from your galactic Star Nation families, and also from the higher reaches of the angelic legions, the archangels, the solar light beings, and your own soul family. So we send much love, dear ones, full of thanks for the beauty of your lives and all you contribute now. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate you being here, and I'm sorry this wasn't live. I've had internet issues and YouTube issues, and I'm a little wary at the moment. Hopefully the next podcast will be live. So I send a lot of love and huge hugs because, as they say, we'll get through this, you know. We're in this together. All is well. Namaste.